What's going on YouTube? My name is Chris, and in today's video, I'm going to explore the world of options trading with you, even if you don't know one thing about options trading. I will be explaining the most important options trading concepts to you using examples, lots of examples, and visualizations so that you can understand and actually see how options work in the real world. My goal is to provide you with all the information that I would put into a beginner course, but give you everything for free. So with that being said, grab your favorite beer, your favorite wine, kombucha, or whatever your thing is, and let's get started. So the first step in our options trading journey today is to first understand and learn about the basic option characteristics that all options have, and briefly discuss how options are different from shares of stock. Option characteristic number one is that all options have an expiration date. This is different from shares of stock because if you buy a share of a company's stock, there's no expiration date on that position. You can hold that share of stock forever as long as that company doesn't go private. There's nothing that's forcing you from closing that position. But with options, all option contracts have an expiration date, and the expiration date could be today or it could be 2.5 years from now, and that means that when you are trading options, you have to choose a time frame for your position. Now this will make more sense when we go through the examples in just a second, but the first thing to know is that all options have an expiration date, and after that expiration date, that option will no longer exist. Option characteristic number two is that all options have what is called a strike price. The strike price is the price in which the option can be converted into shares of stock. And exactly what that means is that if I have an option with a strike price of $105, that means that in the future, if I want to buy or sell shares of stock using my option, I can do so at the option strike price of $105. So this is really important, and it doesn't have to make sense right now, but basically an option's entire valuation or price is based on the fact that it has the ability to be converted into shares of stock at its strike price. So we'll go through a bunch of examples, so don't worry if this doesn't make sense quite yet. Option characteristic number three that we have to discuss, and the final one that we will discuss before moving forward, is what is called the option contract multiplier. So this is really confusing, and I hate it myself as someone who teaches options because it makes things pretty confusing. But if I see a share of stock that has a stock price of $120, I can buy one share of that stock with $120. But if I see an option and the option price is $5, I cannot actually buy that option with $5 US. I actually need $500 because options on stocks can be converted into 100 shares of stock. And because of that, we have to multiply the price that we see by 100 to get the option's actual value, or what is called the option premium. So let's build on these three option characteristics, and let's move forward by discussing the two option types and get into some examples and clearly look at what these three characteristics mean in regards to the examples. The first option type is called a call option. At a very high level, call option prices will increase as the stock price increases, and call option prices will decrease as the stock price decreases. So the price of call options moves with the stock price. But why do call option prices move with the stock price? Well, a call option gives the buyer the right to buy 100 shares of stock at the call option strike price between now and the expiration date of that option. Remember that one of the characteristics of all options is that they have a strike price. And for call options, the call option can be used to purchase 100 shares of stock at the call option's strike price. And as we'll see in an example in just a moment, the ability to purchase shares at the call option strike price, which never changes, will get immensely valuable if the stock price increases significantly higher than that call option strike price, because the option can then be used to purchase shares of stock at a steep discount to the current share price. So without getting into an actual option or stock market example just yet, let's explore what a call option does and how it works by using a very simple example. Let's imagine that there is a house, and the current value of this house is $200,000. Now, I am personally interested in buying this house because I think that the value of the house is going to appreciate significantly over the next 2 years. But I don't want to buy the house right this second. So I'm going to buy an option that gives me the right to buy the house at a price of $200,000 between now and 2 years from now. So we can call the strike price $200,000 since my option that I'm buying on this house gives me the right to buy the house for $200,000 or at the strike price of $200,000 between now and the expiration date in 2 years from now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy this option that gives me the right to buy this house for $200,000 no matter what the house price does between now and 2 years from now. But I don't just get the ability to purchase this house for $200,000 between now and 2 years from now for free. I have to pay for this contract because for me, there has to be some sort of risk. There can't just be reward. If somebody were to say, you can buy this house for $200,000 between now and 2 years from now, no matter what, and you don't have to pay for that right at all. Well, that would be amazing for me because if the house price falls, I don't have to buy the house. But if the house price goes up to $300,000, then I can buy the house at $200,000, and there was never any risk for me, but there was only reward. So that's not a real scenario, and for me, there has to be some risk, and what that means is that I have to pay a premium for the right to buy this house at $200,000 between now and 2 years from now. So we would call that the option premium. Let's say that I pay $10,000 for this option. So I'm saying I want to buy this house for $200,000, which is the strike price, between now and 2 years from now, which is the expiration date. And my premium for having that ability over that time frame is $10,000. Now let's say that 1 year from now, the house is valued at $350,000. I have possession of a financial contract that gives me the right to purchase that house for $200,000. And with the house currently valued at $350,000, what do you think that means for the value of the financial contract that I have, which is called an option? Well, as you might imagine, since I can buy the house for $200,000, but the house is currently valued at $350,000, the financial contract that I have, which is called an option, is immensely valuable. So now I can actually exercise my option, meaning that I will buy the house at the strike price, which is $200,000. And since the house is currently valued at $350,000, I am buying something that is worth $350,000 for a value of $200,000. And because of that, we could say that my profit from this scenario is $150,000. So that's the golden scenario. Now, because I paid $10,000 for the option initially, my net profit in this case would not be the full $150,000. It would be $140,000. So my total profit minus what I paid for the option initially. So that is the golden scenario. But let's say the opposite happened and the house price did not increase and actually fell to $150,000 2 years from my purchase date of that option. Well, I don't actually have to buy the house for $200,000 because I had an option to buy it, but I don't have to exercise my right to buy the house at the strike price. So since the house is at $150,000, obviously I don't want to buy it at my strike price of $200,000 because if I really wanted that house, I could just buy it at the current market price of $150,000. And because of that, the option that I have is worthless. And since I paid $10,000 for that option and now it is not worth anything, I have lost my full $10,000 that I invested into that option. But if we compare this to the loss I would have had if I purchased the house initially without buying an option, I would have paid $200,000 for the house, and at the current price of $150,000, I have lost $50,000 as opposed to the $10,000 that I lost in my option premium example. So with the option, I only lost $10,000, but if I would have just bought the house initially, I would have lost $50,000. So with options, you have limited risk and immense upside potential, which is why traders love to buy options. So let's take all of these concepts that we just discussed with this basic house example, and let's look at it with a real option example in the stock market. And for this first example, we are going to be looking at a call option on Tesla, which is everybody's favorite stock right now. Unless you're short, then maybe it's not so much your favorite stock. In this real image of Tesla options, I have set up an order to purchase the Tesla call option with a strike price of $800 and an expiration in June, which is 39 days away as of this image. The strike price of this call option is $800, which means that between now and the expiration date in 39 days, if I own this contract, I have the right to purchase 100 shares of Tesla stock at the call option strike price of $800. So in our house example, it was just buying one house. So therefore, we would say the option contract multiplier in that case is 1. But in this case, since I can buy 100 shares of Tesla stock at the option's strike price, the option contract multiplier is said to be 100. And because of that, we have to look at the option's price and multiply it by 100 to actually get the option's value or option premium. Now let's note that the current Tesla stock price is $811. So the stock price is the current market price of the shares, but we are looking at a call option with a strike price of $800. In the bottom middle of this image, we can see that the option price is $81.70. But remember, this is not the actual value or premium of the option. This is the option price. To get the option's actual value, or the cost of purchasing this option, one contract, is actually $81.70 multiplied by the option contract multiplier of 100, which gives us an option value or option premium of $8,170. Now this is a really expensive option. Now don't worry, because not all options are this expensive, but we'll talk about exactly why this option is so expensive in just a little bit. But why would this option be worth over $8,000? That seems a little bit crazy. Remember, a call option buyer can use the call option to purchase 100 shares of stock at the call option strike price between now and the expiration date. And in this case, the expiration is 39 days away. So let's say that I think Tesla shares are going to increase significantly over the next 39 days. I'm going to buy this Tesla call option right now with a strike price of $800, and I'm going to pay the premium of $8,170 to buy this call option. Just one contract. Now let's say 2 weeks from now, Tesla has had a massive rally in the stock price, and now Tesla shares are trading at $1,000 per share. Well, I have in my possession a financial contract called a call option that gives me the right to purchase 100 shares of Tesla stock at my call option's strike price of $800. But Tesla shares are currently trading for $1,000. So with my option, I could exercise my option, meaning I want to go through with what the option allows me to do, which is with a call option, purchase 100 shares of stock at the strike price. And if I do that, I will buy 100 shares of Tesla stock at the strike price of $800. So if we take $800 per share times 100 shares, I will pay $80,000 to buy that share position. But Tesla shares are currently trading for $1,000. So if I go ahead and turn around and sell my shares, if I sell 100 shares for $1,000 per share, I will receive $100,000 for selling those shares. So my profit in this scenario is $200 per share multiplied by 100 shares, giving me a $20,000 profit. But remember that I paid $8,170 for this option initially, so my $20,000 profit minus my initial cost of entering the trade of $8,170 gives me a net profit of $11,830. If I make a profit of $11,830 on an initial trade cost of $8,170, my return on that position is 145%. So the reason a trader would pay so much for a Tesla call option is because Tesla shares are incredibly volatile and can move around hundreds of dollars in just a few days' time. So if a trader believes that Tesla's stock price is going to surge in the near term, they might buy a call option, and by doing so, if they buy the call option and then the stock price increases significantly, the value of their call option will also surge because the ability to buy shares of stock at the fixed strike price gets immensely valuable as the share price rockets to higher and higher prices. But we need to discuss something that's extremely important, and it's a major sticking point for options trading beginners. And this is that when you are trading options, very rarely will you actually exercise the option to purchase shares of stock at the called strike price and then sell them at the current market price, as I just described in this Tesla example. The reason I described it like that is because as an options trader, you have to understand where the prices are coming from and why the price changes make sense. So in the case of buying this 800 call option when Tesla is at $811, if the stock price goes to $1,000, I have a contract that allows me to buy 100 shares of stock at my strike price of $800. So then I could exercise that right, buy the shares at 800 and sell them at 1,000, which would give me a $200 profit per share. But here's the thing. An option will always include the benefit that it provides the owner in its price. So the option price will always embed any profit that can be made by exercising it. So in the example where I buy the 800 Tesla call option and the stock price goes to $1,000, since I have a call option and the call option can buy shares of stock $200